Hi people, it's me, Anja, my pronouns are she and her, and welcome back to my channel for a new recent reads video. I've been reading a lot of books lately over Christmas break, so without any further ado, the first book on this list is called The Tea Dragon Festival. For those who don't know, this is the middle-grade fantasy graphic novel sequel to The Tea Dragon Society, and I believe it's the second book in this trilogy. I'm so excited to continue this series because this book was absolutely so good. I will say though that I preferred the first one, but I appreciated how in this book the characters were expanded upon and the world building was so interesting and absolutely so intriguing. The illustrations continue to be so vibrant and so beautiful. The art is so whimsical and it's absolutely so wholesome, and it makes the story so much more magical and more interesting than it already was. You know what I mean? Anyway, this book is so good, and like I said, I'm so excited to read the third book, although I'm not quite sure when that's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to read it before this year ends or anything like that, but anyway, all that to say, I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I really enjoyed that. So with all that to say, I would highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Cursed. For those who don't know, this book is a YA fantasy sequel to Gilded, which is a YA fantasy retelling of Rumpelstiltskin. And honestly, I didn't enjoy this book as much as the previous one, just because my main problem with it is that the other additional storylines involving the king, not to spoil anything like that, because, you know, my book reviews tend to be spoiler-free. But anyway, all the additional storylines involving the king in this book detracted from the main romance, which was my favorite part of Gilded in the first place. So for me, like, it felt more annoying than feeling like angsty for them, if that makes any sense. So like, even though the plot was intriguing and it was engaging, I thought that those storylines felt more distracting than anything else. So the book felt like it should have been like cut 100 pages. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense at all. Like, I do enjoy these characters and I do enjoy those romance, and especially like towards the end, but not so much in the beginning or the middle, if that makes any sense. So anyway, all that to say, I rated this book 3 out of 5 stars. I definitely preferred the first book, so yeah, take that as you will. The next book on this list is called A Million to One. For those who don't know, this book is a YA historical fiction, and it follows 4 main characters as they band together for a heist on the Titanic. This book is absolutely so fantastic, and it's so excellent. I honestly had really low expectations for this book before I read it, just because the last 2 books that I read by this author not only were YA contemporaries, but I rated them both 3 stars, so I was pleasantly surprised when I rated this book 4 stars. Like, it's absolutely so good. First of all, the 4 character perspectives were done so well, and they really made for well-developed, distinct main characters. The sapphic romance that developed between 2 of the 4 main characters was so well-paced, and it was absolutely so intriguing. Literally, the plot was so engaging and so immersive. The world building was so well done. Even though I know the history of the Titanic, obviously, and I know the ship sinks, and I know exactly what date it happened on, you know what I mean? Like, the story didn't feel, like, predictable or anything like that, because I was so engaged, and I was really so immersed in it. Like, the story is so good, and it's so fantastic. The ending was bittersweet. This book is absolutely so good, and it's so awesome. So with all that said, I would highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called The Secrets of Stone Creek. This story is a middle-aged contemporary following a young girl who's trying to prove herself, and the local legend is the perfect solution. This book is absolutely so fantastic, and it's so well done. I had really high expectations for this book because the author, if you didn't know, previously wrote Pepper's Rules for Secret Sleuthing, which I really enjoyed last year. So I'm so glad that this book definitely met those expectations, and I rated it 4 out of 5 stars as well. Literally, like, first of all, the characters are so well developed and so distinct. I'm pretty sure that the main character Finnegan is Ayla Ace, so that's interesting. In fact, I was so, like, certain by that I asked the author on Goodreads whether or not she is Ayla Ace, and the author said that that is something that the main character explores after the story. You know what I mean? So that was so intriguing. Also, I wasn't expecting the author on Goodreads to answer my question. You know what I mean? Because I know there's so many questions through that function go unanswered. But anyway, the point is, this book is so fantastic. I love the sibling dynamics so much. Finnegan, the main character, has 2 brothers. As you can see in the cover, she's the middle child, and I thought that their sibling relationship was so authentic. The plot was so intriguing and so engaging. The mystery was absolutely so fantastic. Literally, this book is so good. I just really enjoyed it, and I would gladly support the author in the future, because literally they are so talented. So anyway, all that to say, I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I would highly, highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Aquicorn Cove. I hope I pronounced that correctly. If I didn't, please let me know. But anyway, this story is a middle-grade fantasy graphic novel that follows a young girl who recently has discovered a new magical underwater colony, and she's determined to protect them. This book is absolutely so fantastic, and I really, really enjoyed it. First of all, the illustrations were so vibrant and so beautiful, and I knew they would be, because this book is written and illustrated by the same author who previously wrote the T-Dragon Society trilogy, and I've talked about before how that art is so pretty, and this art was absolutely no exception. Anyway, the plot was so intriguing and so engaging. The characters were so well developed and so distinct. The family dynamics and the friendships felt so authentic and so wholesome and so magical. This author is so talented, and I will gladly continue to support them in the future, because this book was so good. And I just really enjoyed it because I was so drawn in, no pun intended, by the art immediately, and also by the plot and the characters too. Literally, this book is so good. So anyway, all that to say, I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I would highly, highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Susie Won't Back Down. This story is a middle-grade contemporary following a young girl who's campaigning for student council president, and it's told through letters to her hero, Susan B. Anthony. This story is absolutely so fantastic, and it's so relatable in so many different ways. But first of all, I love the main character so much, and the fact that she has ADHD made her thought process to be very easy to follow, since I don't have ADHD, but I do have autism, so I think that's why I think the same exact way that she did, and the way that she jumps from one subject to the next made so much sense for me. You know what I mean? And it made the plot so fast-paced and absolutely so engaging and so intriguing, so we love to see it. The characters were so well developed and so distinct. I really enjoyed the family dynamics as well as the friendships, because they literally felt so authentic and so well done. This book is absolutely so good, and it's so awesome, and it's so intriguing, and I will gladly read more from the author in the future. I'm so excited to read her backlisted book. I think it's called We Could Be Heroes or something like that. I'm not completely sure, but anyway, this book is so good in so many different elements, and I just really, really enjoyed it. So with all that said, I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I would highly, highly recommend it. The last book on this list, and certainly not the least, is called Beetle and the Hollowbones. This story is a middle-grade fantasy graphic novel that follows a young goblin who is determined to save her best friend from a haunted shopping mall. This book is absolutely so fantastic, and it's so magical, and I really, really enjoyed it. First of all, the illustrations were so pretty and so vibrant, and they really hooked me in from the beginning, but so did the plot, because the plot was so intriguing and so engaging. The characters were so well developed and so distinct. The friendship was so lovely and absolutely so wonderful. The sapphic romance was so cute, and it was absolutely so well paced. This book is so good, and it's absolutely worth all of its hype and so much more. Every single time I read a book with a really high average rating on Goodreads, and when I say really high, I mean over 4.0. Like, I think the average rating for this book is 4.13 or something like that. I'm always afraid that the book won't live up to that high expectation, but this book absolutely did, because it's so good. It's so pretty, and it's so vibrant, and the story is so interesting and so intriguing. I just really, really enjoyed it. So anyway, all that to say, I rated this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I would clearly highly, highly recommend it. So, in conclusion, December has been a very good reading month, and I would highly recommend all the books on this list, except for Cursed, honestly. So, anyway, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the unicorn emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching, subscribe to my channel if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Happy holidays!